Welcome everyone to round 3, the final round of August 6th Star Wars Limited Locals Night over at Valkyrie Vault in Brownsburg, Indiana. If you guys are looking for a place to play some Star Wars Limited, check out Valkyrie Vault in Brownsburg, Indiana. Thursday nights, 6 p.m., $5 entry. And for you all, I am here playing some Krennic Law Blue against Ackbar Splash Green. The Ackbar Splash Green we saw in our Trilogy event. So, yeah, that's the exact same version of Ackbar. So if you already watched that gameplay, you kind of know what the deck does. So anyways, before we jump into game number 1, let's do a quick recap of what we are expected to see. For Ackbar side of the board state, it is action pay 1, tap them. You may rest a unit on the board state. If you do, give the user of that unit a X-Wing token. He flips on 6 and then on attack does the exact same thing. For rest a unit on the board state, its user creates an X-Wing token. We are playing, of course, the Splash Green base because the card that they are splashing into here is Unity in Purpose. So that is what they splash out. But anyways, on my side, I have the Krennic Law Blue side, the Krennic Law deck that is right now starting to take the Ash meta with a few tops. Very interesting to see Krennic actually getting tops in this format. When he first came out in Law, he was horrible. Yellow was like the only way people thought to play him, but now with all the new stuff from Ash, he's actually gotten a little better. It's very interesting to see this. But anyways, Krennic states on his front action, tap him. You may defeat a friendly unit you control, and if you do, create a credit token. He flips on a 7, and then you may target a friendly unit that is on your board state, and then you may use its power and target one of your. You may deal damage to one of your opponent's units based on the power of the targeted unit you chose. So basically, if you target a big unit with like 6 power onto it, you can then choose one of your opponent's units and liquefy it for 6 damage. So that's kind of the gimmick of Director Krennic when he flips on his backside. But nonetheless, it's just token creation just to allow you to play out your big stuff a lot faster against space aggro over here with Mr. Ackbar, because that's really what you want to do with Ackbar. You want to space aggro into all your X-Wings. So with that said, let's get into game number 1. For game number 1 here, I'm going to go first. I'm going to start off with a Director Krennic, playing down him for coming in shielded, and then playing the android for free because of its win defeat skill. And then we're going to have Nell, and then the Open Circle Ace, which Nell, funny enough, should have actually brought that Open Circle Ace into actually active mode there of when played. I think when played on attack, when you play a unit that costs 1 less, you can then bring it in for free. We're going to go for the android did swing in there. Then we're going to go for a credit token there by destroying it with the Director Krennic. Then we're going to have the Open Circle Ace swing in there for 2 damage. Then I'm going to go for a Moff Gideon for a Sentinel on the ground. Then we're going to go for the N1 Starfighter there. And then we're going to do 2 damage to my opponent's base. And my opponent is going to take the initiative here. You can kind of see what's going on right now. My opponent is just playing Space Sentinel. Now, I do have 2 Hyperspace Disasters, which I am holding right now, specifically to deal with the deck itself here. So anyways, we're going to then rest the Nail using the Ackbar to then create another X-Wing token. Then we're going to have the Gideon swing in for 2 damage. Right now, I'm not too afraid of a Nail, so I'm just trying to ping damage onto my opponent's base here. So then we're going to do 2 damage to my opponent's base, and then the Open Circle Ace is going to do 2 damage. And then I'm going to kill off the Moff Gideon here to create 2 credit tokens. No effect from the Moff Gideon here. I'm just trying to spam out credit tokens. Then we're going to go for the 𝐒𝐓𝐾𝐘 to create a Mandalorian token. Coming in, shielded, and then she gives experience. Gives it, and then gives herself Sentinel for as long as I control a token unit. And then my opponent is then going to play Blue Leader out onto the battlefield, and then I'm just going to pass, claim the initiative from there. Again, the little new metal token is a little hand token now produced by Fantasy Flight Games, which is pretty nice. They now allow that. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly how I can survive this while I'm trying to burn out. So I'm going to burn all my credit tokens. I'm going to go for Hyperspace Disaster. I'm immediately just going to wipe out the entirety of the space front right now just so I can remove it. So the Ackbar is going to start up again, as we're going to go for 𝐒𝐓𝐾𝐄 is going to kill over Nails just so I don't have to worry about Nail being a free use guy every single turn here. Then we're going to go for the Bomber here coming down again, getting +1 for each other friendly space unit on the battlefield here, the Clone Combat Bomber. Then I'm going to swing in for 2 from Director Krennic. Then I'm going to swing in for the Mandalorian token. Then I'm going to pop the Mandalorian token with the Director Krennic to allow me to, of course, claim a credit token. pretty much that's what I'm kind of having to do here is you just kind of have to play into gaining those credit tokens again so you can drop all of those big bodies that you need to be able to drop. I do have First Light in here as well, which again, really good when you're going up into a format with heavy spaces. We're going to go for the Ackbar is going to be able to make another X-Wing, making that Clone Combat Squadron Bomber a 5/5, and then we're going to be able to immediately kill that off with the 𝐒𝐓𝐾𝐘, because 𝐒𝐓𝐾 does not care for health points remaining, it just cares for the power, so that's going to be able to do 6 damage to the Clone Combat Squadron. Being able to remove that, and we're going to go for an Open Circle Ace, and then I'm going to deal 6 damage to my opponent's base, utilizing the 𝐒𝐓𝐾𝐘, and I do still have one more turn before I actually can visually jump out, because Ackbar does jump out one before me. Ackbar comes out on 6, I come out on 7. So anyways, we're going to go for the Blue Squadron Ace to then deal 4 damage to the 𝐒𝐓𝐾 there, but unfortunately 𝐒𝐓𝐾 still has 1 health point left there. And then the Ackbar is going to be able to kill the 𝐒𝐓𝐾, taking back 6 there from that attack, and then that's just going to be a pass from there. So basically, I don't know if I put the First Light in my resources. I definitely probably should have when I flip Director Krennic. I should go Director Krennic into First Light and then trigger Director Krennic's effect on the First Light to then kill 2 space units with 1 bird and draw 1 as well. Anyways, then we're going to go for Ackbar! Anyways, then we're going to trigger the Ackbar effect to pop himself in the face, looking at top 7 and playing space units that cost 4 or less to your board state. It's a really good card for Luke JTL right now, so we're going to go for an A-Wing, so they have 3 left, and we're going to go for a Blue Squadron. No, it's 5 or less, apologies. So then the Blue Squadron veteran's going to be able to do that. We're just going to go for another Hyperspace Disaster, immediately removing the entirety of that space board there, just because why not? By the way, I only run 2 Hyperspace Disasters in this deck. I really wish I had a third one. I would have put a third one in here 100%. Because I do need the consistency with the Hyperspace Disaster. Anyways, I'm going to pay 1 for an Android, bringing that down to the battlefield. My opponent's going to go for a Nell. I'm going to immediately kill the Android here, creating 2 credit tokens, and then when defeated, draw 1 card. And then there's not really much overall that I really need to overly worry about here. With bringing out my Krennic, because I could have brought that out a little earlier, but there's not really an overall concern with bringing out Krennic right now. There's just nothing for Krennic to really like overly utilize. Really thinking about it, I did draw that Chimera. Maybe I should have probably kept it if I had known I was going to draw into a Chimera. I would have kept the Android up alive for a turn if I'm really thinking about it. So I'm just kind of figuring out what I want to do. I'm going to go for 𝐒𝐏 here, and then I'm going to take the I'm going to take 4 damage to my base, and then for each 2 I take, I then can reduce the play cost of one of my units by 2. So I'll be able to then reduce the play cost of one of my units by 2 for the next turn. Anyways, we're going to go for the Blue Squadron. Blue Leader is going to come down, it's paying 5, coming in with its 2 experience tokens, and then killing off the 𝐒𝐏 there. And then, of course, I have the ability, if need be, to play something with cost of 2 less because of 𝐒𝐏. So right now, I was thinking about that pre-Vizsla. So anyways, I am going to go forward. I do have the ability to play it out because I do have it at reduced cost of 6, then plus the 2 credit tokens, reducing it to a play cost of 4. So as pre-Vizsla is going to be able to come down, kill off both Nell and the Blue Squadron, and then we're going to have Beguile. My opponent was thinking that they could Beguile back the pre-Vizsla, but they couldn't do it because Beguile says 6 or less, and pre-Vizsla is an 8, so they could bounce back a Mandalorian token if they really wanted to, but it didn't seem pointful for them. So they are going to just scoop up game number 1 to me, meaning that we're going into game number 2. Here we go, folks, for game number 2. Ackbar is just deciding on how they want to resource it out in the end here. We're going to go for an N1 Starfighter in the sky, and I'm going to go for a Gonk droid in the ground. And then I'm just going to pass from there. Really wishing that that Retaliation should have been my 3rd copy of Hyperspace Disaster, but unfortunately, I still, like I said, I only own 2 copies of it. So anyways, we're going to go for then resting the N1 Starfighter to then allow me to Ackbar resting the M1 Starfighter to allow them to create an X-Wing token, and then we're going to be able to go for the Gonk droid. Then I'm going to go for the reduced cost of the Expendable Mercenary. I'm deciding not to immediately kill off my Expendable Mercenary with the Krennic there. I could have to create an immediate credit token, but I'd rather swing at least for that 3 damage that it does output and then kill it off so that I can create a credit token with it. But you could have that argument of immediately being able to kill it off just so that you can ramp up into another resource that turn, so you would be at 5. Anyways, then we're going to go for the Expendable Mercenary, is going to deal 3 damage. Then we're going to have the Ackbar resting the X-Wing to create another X-Wing. We're going to have the Krennic kill off the Expendable Mercenary to create a credit token. Then we're going to have 3 damage coming in from the A-Wing here. And then we're going to have 1 damage coming in from the Gonk droid, Gonk Man. And then basically right now I'm up a hill. Because we're going to go for blue leader, and then we're going to go for the expendable mercenaries coming out yet again, and then that is going to be a pass there. But unfortunately, as of right now, like I said, if that retaliation had been a hyperspace disaster, then I've been perfectly fine with what's going on right now. Again, being that Ackbar is so heavy in space, hyperspace disaster is the only way to really deal with the mass port state. Anyways, we're going to deal 3 damage from, of course, the N1 dealing 3 into me, and then the expendable mercenary dealing 3 into Ackbar's base. And then I'm going to take another 3 from the A-wing here. Then I'm going to spend for no glory on the results to remove off the blue leader here, just so I can remove somewhat of a little bit of a problem here. So we're going to go for another X-wing, creating by resting an X-wing. Then we're going to go for the Gonk Man, and then we're going to go for another X-wing, Sing 2. Then I'm going to use Krennic to pop that expendable mercenary, allowing me to resource it and then create that. And then unfortunately, right when I didn't really need to see it, here comes the Clone Combat Squadron that has a whole bunch of bodies on it as well that I just cannot get through. I think it has a plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it has a plus 5 on it, so it's an 8-8 right now. Because it's naturally a 3-3, then plus the extra it gets off of that. So there really isn't anything I can really do right now, really thinking about it. I did mess up. I really actually wanted to resource that first light when I went for the Krennic, so then I could go for first light. So anyways, we're going to go for first light. First light is going to kill off an X-wing here, and then I'm going to be able to draw 1 card there. Yep, and then I could have done it all together if I'd resourced the first light and then flipped the Krennic, gone for the plot, and then I could have used the effect of Krennic to then kill off 2 fighters there, and then that bomber. I don't think that would have mattered much for the bomber. Honestly, I mean, I'm just completely dead here, so I'm just going to scoop that one up. There may have been a point where I could have retaliated against the bomber and just killed it off, but again, I would have rather had hyperspace disaster there instead of retaliation. Again, that retaliation is there only because I do not own a 3rd copy of Hyperspace Disaster. So with that said, we're going to that all-important game number 3. Here we go, folks, for that all-important game number 3, the most delicious words you'll ever hear in any TCG game 3. Let's see what we're going to go for here. We're going to go with a Director Krennic, and then my opponent's going to start with an N1. And then I'm going to go put out the Android for free because of Director Krennic. Man, I am holding that Ravager just in case I do need it. It's a 9-cost ship. I'm only running 2 of it just because it's a 9-cost ship. It's a good ship for what it could do, but sometimes it's not all that strong. Anyways, my opponent's immediately going to go here. We're going to go for the Android to be able to draw 1, creating 1 credit token there after the Android swung. And then I'm going to go for the 2 for a Leppy Lookout. Then I'm going to swing for 2 with the Director Krennic Man to my opponent. And then we're going to draw from there. I could have now resourcing that Gonk droid. I probably should have actually not resourced the Gonk droid, really thinking about it, and probably resourced the 𝐒𝐲𝐃, because 𝐒𝐲𝐃's not doing anything in this game state here. So anyways, I'm going to go for 2 damage from the Director Krennic there, and then I'm going to eat 3 damage from, of course, the N1 Starfighter. My opponent's going to make an X-Wing token. I'm going to immediately kill off the Director Krennic there to make another credit token there. And then I'm going to go for that, and then I'm going to go for the 𝐒𝐲𝐃 here to immediately kill off the Director Krennic to create a Mandalorian token, and then my opponent's going to go for Blue Leader as well. But yeah, honestly, I probably should have played the Gonk droid, really thinking about it, just because being able to reduce the play cost by 1 is really nice there. That's why what I should have done that 1 turn, being able to reduce the play cost. It probably would have been able to bring out a couple of my guys out a little bit faster here, as we're going to swing the 2 damage here from the Mandalorian token, and then I'm basically going to go from there, taking another 3 damage to my base, and then I'm going to kill off the Mandalorian token to create another credit token here. I'm trying to get out a pre-Vizsla as fast as I can, as we're going to have the Blue Leader swing in as well. So, yep, I am going to be able to drop pre-Vizsla here, being able to immediately kill off the 2 X-Wings, and then one more thing here, just trying to get the board state immediately cleaned up here. My opponent thought I was going to drop Hyperspace Disaster. Nope, just dropping a pre-Vizsla. But even at that point right now, it is still quite dangerous here, as I have now 3 Mandalorian tokens, because pre-Vizsla creates a Mandalorian token for each unit that is killed. And now there is the Clone Combat Squadron, and then that is going to be a claim on my side. I have no desire to swing with the 𝐒𝐲𝐃. I have the Lost and Forgotten right now sitting in my hand. I need to keep that right. I need to be able to have the initiative here to be able to immediately go for Lost and Forgotten over that Clone Combat Squadron, so I can immediately kill it off of the board state. Just so I do not have to deal with that at all right now. Especially because I believe this is the turn my opponent is going to go, I believe this is the turn my opponent goes for burning their base effect to go for, apologies, Unity and Purpose. So I believe that is the turn they're going to do it. I can't remember if this is the turn or not. So anyways, they're going to flip the Ackbar. I'm going to go 2 damage at my opponent's base here. And again, the 𝐒𝐲𝐘𝐒 does have it, but there is the unity and purpose effect. Again, everybody is getting +4/+4 because there are 4 different unique units on the board states. So everybody is getting a massive +4/+4. So I'm basically having 𝐒𝐲𝐾 get killed, Ackbar killing off 𝐒𝐲𝐾, and then he is going to rest my 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐿. So I claim an X-Wing token again. Ackbar states any unit on the board can be rested, giving its player an X-Wing token. I'm going to take 7 from this blue squadron, this blue leader, and then basically swinging 2 more at my opponent's base here as well. Putting them up very close, but I'm going to eat another 7 from this one, and then unfortunately am going to die to the fact that I do not have a way to out that Y-Wing. But yeah, that the Republic Y-Wing will be able to kill me. That again, unity and purpose was what won them the game, and the fact I could not see hyperspace disaster. If I had hyperspace disaster over 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐿, I think that would have been a lot better. And as well as if in game 2 that retaliation was hyperspace disaster, I could have won that game as well. But this one was close. It came down very close again. Those bases are only 27 health. Honestly, probably should have swung early with the 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐿 than these tokens. Just getting that extra sick damage probably would have been the game changer there with the win. Now looking at it, I probably should have swung 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐿 before I started swinging little bodies. And the turn maybe Ackbar came out, I probably should have swung 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐿, knowing that he could rest 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐿. So that might have been on me. I probably could have won it if I just swung the 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐿 rather than having 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐿 be rested. But nonetheless, guys, you can let me know your thoughts down in the comments on the decks, on the gameplay, and what you guys are commenting. Do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you know if my videos go live for you. And we'll see you here next time on Modern Dragons TCG.